Well, hello again. I'm doing another knee-jerk reaction to a movie. The movie I just watched was the Ouija Experiment, and for those of you who've never seen one of my reviews before, standard disclaimer, there may be spoilers. I won't intentionally tell you the ending or anything, but I will talk about the movie, so if a spoiler leaks out, you've been warned. The Ouija Experiment, I tried to watch this once before, and I got about 5 minutes in, and I switched to something else. It's God, might be a short review. I tried to look for something good in the movie, but this movie just had horrible writing. It had horrible acting. The pace was horrible. It's a shaky cam. I don't know if this is a found footage movie because they play it off like a found footage movie, but then there's parts that aren't found footage. There's parts that play as if an actual movie, like you're the third person watching the movie. So it's hard to say what they were trying to do with this. But the part that was so distracting was there was like a bunch of friends got together. Excuse me, I just guzzled some soda. It's like a bunch of friends got together and said, "Hey, let's act out this movie." And that's how bad the acting was. It was high school. It was middle school acting class bad. And that's really distracting. I love horror movie. I love a good horror movie. And I may have gotten a little bit too critical because it seems like I can always find a problem with a horror movie. But I try not to do that. I try to remain positive. But this movie, the story, I guess the positive part would be I like a good story. As far as what created the ghost, and every one of these movies, they have their universe, how and why the ghost came about, what are the rules of the ghost. Of course, in this one, it's an Ouija board. Apparently, there's rules. I've never heard of rules. To me, Ouija boards were like, they're made by Milton Bradley, for crying out loud. They're and at the beginning they're calling it a game. Oh, let's play this game, and I'm like, who does that? And one of the rules is you always got to say goodbye, and the ghost has to say goodbye. Otherwise, the Ouija is a door left open to the spirit world. And that's what happens, and I'm sure I was going to watch the sequels, but I can't do it. Maybe if I get drunk and really, really bored, I can go watch the sequels, but if they're anything like this movie, I can't do it. But, they leave the doorway open. There is an affair going on, and fight breaks out, so they leave without saying goodbye to the Ouija board. And so, in doing this, they let out the spirits, and of course, the spirits they contacted, and that's the part I kind of like the good story. And there's a million ways a person can die that leaves a spirit, and this is just one of the ways. And they actually had like a flashback to what happened, and I like the characters to figure out, I don't know, as part of the audience, I like to figure out the mystery with the characters and to try to guess along, and maybe once in a while have a character point out sometimes like, oh yeah, what would that go? But this just kind of, okay, here's some ghosts, and then a flashback to how the ghosts came to be. They did pick up some clues along the way, but then they just did a flashback. Okay, this is what happened. And then, I don't know, they confronted the ghost and it ended. But the thing about this movie is it's all, okay, let's create a spooky part and then give you a jump scare. Create a spooky part, give you a jump scare. Let's create a spooky part and a spooky part and give you a jump scare. And I'm not a great fan of jump scares. I was just thinking, I'm a writer, and in one of my books, these people are living in a castle, or they visit a castle where people are still alive from World War II, because they were the results of Nazi experiments, and their lifespan was greatly stretched, and they're still alive from World War II. And in one of the scenes, a headless woman walks past an open door. And of course the characters freak out, and that kind of sets in motion a whole bunch of other things. Now, I don't know if you can have a jump scare in a book, but I'm sure if this book ever gets made into a movie, which hey, contact me if you're a producer or something. But I'm sure this would be a jump scare in the movie because, it's just written that way. But it sets in motion a whole bunch of other things. It sets in motion the characters contacting, the caretaker, confronting them with what the hell's going on here. And that happens in movies. I've seen that happen in movies where there's a jump scare. Sometimes it's really cheap. It's the cat. It's, they're just walking and the ghost flashes for a second in front of the camera and then disappears. And, if you just have a jump scare just for the sake of having a jump scare, I think that's cheap. If it doesn't advance the story, it's cheap. And this was just one jump scare after another. I mean, if you want to, bring your girlfriend over for Netflix and chill, maybe she'll jump in your arms or something. But that's all this movie was. The acting was horrible. The writing was, even though, they had, the story of the girl that drowned and the neighbor and who did it, and then they find out something else. They didn't really find out that someone else did it. The flashback showed how it happened. And the other thing I really didn't like about this movie is character reactions. I think this is part of the writing. This is why I think it's bad writing. If you walk in and you find your brother with his throat slashed, lying on a bed and he's dead, your first thought isn't going to be, okay, let's get the Ouija board. I mean, you're going to your brother is dead. This is your brother, and he's dead, and his throat is cut. I mean, where's the, oh my God, let's call the police, let's call an ambulance, let's do something, let's check his vital, let's, no, they were just like, oh, he's dead, let's go do this. There was no character reaction, and I think that's part of the writing, and that's, it's not part of the acting. They're acting according to what was written. But that kind of thing just really bugs me, or like, the light. This is the thing that's across all horror movies. If they hear a noise and they have a creepy noise that goes throughout the movie, and then when they go to investigate it, turn a light on. Why do you investigate things in the dark? Let's turn a light on. They did do that a lot, but it's just like, no, let's just go in the dark. And then they see something like there's the little girl ghost, and she's very visible. She's right there. The woman sees her, and it vanishes, and it's a jump scare. And she turns the light on and calmly sits down and talks into the camera. I don't know. I would be freaking out, and if I was writing the story, I would write my character freaking out, running out of the house screaming. But no, she's like, oh, she turns the light on. Oh, I just saw a ghost. And, oh, hey, that must be the ghost of the, the girl on the Ouija board. And it's just, I don't know. It's just like the most incredible thing has happened, and they're totally not reacting to it. Or they're reacting to, I don't even know. They just didn't react. It's like, oh, there was like 3 or 4 times where they saw the ghost and then just went on like, oh, hey, there, just a second ago there was a ghost standing here, but, I'm going to go walk into this room over here. It just didn't make sense. That's poor writing, and that coupled with the actors, the actors going, hey, we're all here, let's get this going. Please get that camera out of my face. I mean, it was just really horrible acting, and I don't know. I'm very empathetic, and I'm a writer myself, and sometimes I watch these shows, I'm like, how did this show get made when my shows don't get made, and like, what is going on here? But it's just it's called the Ouija Experiment, and there's more. There's like, I forget, the other one's called Resurrection, and one's called, I forget. Excuse me. But it's like, wow, how did this movie get made? It must have been. And then just before I came on, the movie ended and I came out here, I looked up IMDb, and some of these actors have like a whole bunch of movies to the credits. I'm like, how? How do these people have 7, 8 movies in their credits? They just, I don't know. It's almost as bad as, like, when you watch Saturday Night Live and they're reading off the cue card, they're reading off the cue card because they didn't study their lines. it was kind of like that. But again, jump scares, creepy jump scare, creepy jump scare. No reaction to incredible events. There's nothing redeeming about this show. Like I said, I wouldn't even recommend this if you were drinking and bored and wanted to watch something. There's lots of better things you can watch. So this is like a 0 stars. I wouldn't even waste my time on this. And like I said, I tried to start this before, and it got in. The first part is so slow and boring, and it's so badly acted. And there's supposed to be banter. You know, these are 4 friends getting together. Was it 5? Because there's a boyfriend. Let's see. There was 1, 2, 3. There was 5, but I thought I read somewhere that it was 4. But anyway, they supposed to, you know, the first part where they're just bantering, like, oh, he's got a camera on, oh, get that camera out of my face, and oh, here's a call I got you. That was the worst part of the act, and that's why I didn't watch it before. It was just like I was watching this going, oh, I can't do this. So this time I thought I'm going to stick all the way through it, and I did. And basically, there were times I paused it to see how much time was left because I couldn't stand it anymore. And I'm like, tension building. There's going to be a jump scare in about 3 seconds. Boom, there it is. I don't know. Anyway, Ouija Experiment. Don't waste your time. 0 stars out of however many stars there are, because it's 0 stars. Don't waste your time. Watch something. Watch Eraserhead instead. That'll do it. So anyway, that was a knee-jerk reaction to this video. I hope I wasn't too harsh. I hope you weren't one of the actors watching me criticize you. There was one actor in particular. Don't quit your day job. But anyway, good luck with the next ones. I'm not going to watch them because I sat through this one and it was unbearable. I almost watched this movie with some friends that came here that were talking about the Ouija board. I thought, hey, there's a movie about that I tried to watch, but I was like, no, I'm not going to make them sit through that. Anyway, have a good night. I hope I didn't spoil too much of it. In the end, it wasn't who you think it was. But again, let's have a flashback and just explain to everybody. No, I'd like to solve the mystery on my own, but yeah, and here's the jump scare. Oh! That's basically what the movie was. Anyway, have a good night. That was my knee-jerk reaction to the Ouija Experiment.